Alexei leaned close enough for me to smell the cologne he wore for other women. His voice was a whisper, sharp, rehearsed, cruel. "You will never touch my money again." Every word hit like a verdict around us. The courtroom hummed with quiet power. His lawyers, his mother, his mistress, all waiting to watch me break. I did not. I kept my eyes on the table, on the single white envelope resting beneath my hand. Inside it was the truth, the kind that does not just ruin reputations, it burns legacies. He thought I was still the obedient wife who asked before spending a ruble. He did not know that the woman sitting in front of him had already rewritten the ending. My name is Anna Petrova, and before this hearing is over, he will learn that silence was never my weakness. It was my strategy. The courtroom smelled of polished wood and cold air. Light from the tall windows spilled across the floor, catching the reflection of his watch, an expensive one, the same kind he had always used to remind me who held the power. Alexei sat across from me, posture relaxed, a smirk almost forming as his lawyers shuffled their papers. He leaned forward, voice low enough for only me to hear. "You will never touch my money again." It was spoken like a gentleman's courtesy, but it cut deep, slicing through every quiet humiliation I had learned to swallow. Behind him, Elena crossed her legs with slow precision, her pearls gleaming under the light. Olga, the assistant who had replaced me in every room I once belonged to, watched with polite satisfaction. Together, they looked like a jury I never asked for. I did not flinch. My hands rested neatly on my lap, fingers interlaced, the same way they had been during years of pretending everything was fine. But this time, there was no trembling, no fear. The envelope in my purse was heavy, its weight steadier than my heartbeat. When Alexei's attorney declared that I had never contributed anything meaningful, the judge's gaze drifted toward me. For a brief second, our eyes met, calm and unbroken. In that silence, I saw her pause, sensing something was coming. For years, my life looked enviable from the outside, an elegant apartment overlooking the Neva River in St. Petersburg, a husband who provided everything, security that seemed flawless. I once taught economics at St. Petersburg State University. I loved helping students understand complex markets and find their own confidence in finance. Alexei called my passion charming at first, then said I no longer needed it. He wanted me to rest, said I had earned it. For a while, I believed him. But rest slowly became confinement. My salary disappeared into joint accounts. Credit card limits shrank. Every purchase came with a question. "Do you really need that?" Elena, his mother, controlled through words that sounded like wisdom. She ran the Petrov Hope Foundation for orphan children and reminded me constantly that her son's success was the family's pride. "You must protect his image," she said. That is how a good wife supports her husband. The trap closed gradually. I became not a woman with her own voice, but merely his reflection. The illusion cracked on my 40th birthday. Elena handed me a simple gift card for a department store, smiling as if it were generous. Minutes later, she clasped a gold bracelet around Olga's wrist, Alexei's young assistant. The look Alexei gave Olga was not professional. It was intimate, already begun. In the dining room mirror, I saw Elena glowing with pride, Olga radiant with quiet victory, and myself faded, almost invisible. That night I understood that perfection in our home was never love. It was control disguised as devotion. I was done confusing the two. It started simply, with papers left on the table after Alexei fell asleep. A bank statement showed a transfer of 15 million rubles to Sunrise Holdings in Cyprus. I asked about it next morning. He smiled over his coffee without looking up. "Just an investment. You would not understand the details." His tone was the same one he used for years to make me feel small. But I understood enough. That afternoon, while he was at work, I photographed every page, the amounts, the signatures, the routing numbers. They told a story he thought I could not read. Comparing them to the foundation's public tax records, I found Elena's name as a proving signature. That night, in his open email drafts, I saw a message from Olga. "Foundation transfer complete. Next set Monday." Just a few words, but they destroyed the last of my denial. I stood before the mirror, not crying, but calculating. He had used everything I gave him, late nights polishing his presentations, my contacts, my ideas, to hide who he really was. In my desk drawer, I found an old notebook from a student. On the cover, my own words from a lecture years ago. Knowledge is the only thing they cannot take from you. I traced the faded ink and believed it again for the first time in years. The house was silent, city lights reflecting off the river through the window, cold and steady. The truth was no longer his. It was mine, and I knew exactly what to do with it. Alexei left before sunrise the next day, saying he had an early bank meeting. The lie was obvious, he never forgot his phone charger. I waited until his car disappeared, then entered the office he always called off limits. His world, he said. I was about to discover what kind of world it truly was. Blinds half open, faint blue light, dust floating in the air. Folders perfectly arranged, too perfect, like a man preparing to vanish. I opened drawers until the bottom one stuck, then slid free. A red folder stamped Petrov Development Subholdings. Alexei listed as legal representative. Pages showed properties bought and sold in cash every 3 months. I photographed each sheet, hands trembling, shutter sounds echoing. Sunlight cut through the paper like a blade, bright and merciless. Then I saw Elena's signature beside his on every authorization. The air left my lungs. It was not just him. It was the entire family laundering money through their charity. Her old words returned. The Petrovs always protect what is ours. Now I knew what she meant. I drove across the city to meet Sergei Ivanov, my former student, now a financial crimes investigator. He studied the photos on my phone, voice low. You have uncovered a federal laundering network. You have 2 choices now: cooperate with authorities or fall with them. Rain fell steadily as I left his office, his business card in my hand. The agency room smelled of old coffee and fluorescent lights. Sergei sat with prosecutor Natalia Kuznetsova. Her eyes sharp, tone direct but fair. We need solid evidence to open a federal file. Cooperate and you receive immunity and protection. My hands, once drawing economic models for students, now signed a document that would destroy the life I had built with Alexei. I am not doing this for revenge, I said quietly. I am doing it so my son knows who his father really is. I signed the cooperating witness agreement. They gave me a sleek black pen, heavier than it looked, containing a recording device. Tell no one, Sergei warned. Not your son, not friends. If they learn, you will not have time to call us. That evening, Alexei was already home, waiting in the kitchen doorway, eyes searching my face. Where were you all day? I smiled faintly, said I met an old university friend, the one he once called too independent. He grinned that condescending grin I used to mistake for charm, kissed my cheek, cologne mixed with something sharp. Everything I own will always be mine, he whispered. I thought, and everything you cannot see will soon be mine. That night I used the pen for the first time. Alexei spoke on the phone with Elena in his office, voice carrying clearly about Cyprus accounts and next transfers. I recorded, stopped when the call ended, sent the file to Sergei. Holding the pen, I realized it was proof that knowledge still held power. Protected now, city lights cutting between shadow and truth outside my window. The game had begun. The house became a wired stage. 3 weeks later, I found Alexei's watch on the dresser, unusual since he never removed it. A button press revealed a blinking red light. He was recording too. I replaced it calmly and began playing the fragile anxious wife he expected. Elena visited with perfume and false concern, reminding me to maintain family dignity. I smiled at the irony. Every Thursday an agent collected evidence hidden in a book. Fear and precision ruled my days. Sergei warned they might suspect me. I refused to stop. At a weekend dinner Alexei hosted, he hissed when Dmitri left the table, wanting to see how long I could pretend. Later Dmitri asked quietly if I was investigating his father. When people fear truth, they build lies to hide it, I answered gently. By week 8, walls closed in. Staff dismissed, passwords changed. One morning Olga's mistaken email arrived, addressed to another AP, confirming Cyprus transfers with full account details. I forwarded immediately. At Elena's party, Olga approached trembling. You read my email. There are many APs, I replied calmly. From the library I overheard Elena. If she opens her mouth, I will handle it. I recorded, sealing the case. That night Sergei messaged, arrest scheduled for court date. Alexei once said I did not understand rules. Now I had rewritten them. The courtroom was full Monday morning, reporters and former friends filling seats. Alexei sat confident beside expensive lawyers. Elena clutched her bag, Olga poised beside her. I entered quietly in a simple gray dress, no jewelry. Let them underestimate me one last time. His attorney attacked smoothly. Mrs. Petrova has no career, no assets, no contribution, only wants money. I stayed still. My attorney placed the sealed white envelope on the judge's desk. Supplemental document, verified by prosecutor's office. The room froze. Judge Irina Sokolova read, expression shifting from confusion to disbelief, then sharp laughter. This is very good indeed. Alexei cracked. What is happening? Your wife cooperated for 2 months, judge said. Shell companies, foundation transfers, all federal case now. Doors opened, agents entered with warrants. Olga claimed ignorance, but judge replied coldly, signing false documents makes you accessory. Elena screamed her son innocent, but her signatures were there too. Alexei lunged toward me. You do not know what you have done. I met his eyes calmly. I know exactly. I am taking back the life you stole. Cameras flashed as they cuffed him. Justice has its own sense of humor, the judge said. 3 weeks later St. Petersburg talked of nothing else. Headlines everywhere, magnate Alexei Petrov arrested for laundering, Family Foundation fraud probe. Their name became poison. I watched from the quiet riverside apartment, silence feeling new and heavy after years of tension. Sergei called. Illegal assets seized, legitimate holdings remain yours. Justice in numbers, fair and final. Elena lost her foundation role. Olga faced years in prison. Alexei awaited trial in custody, empire reduced to files. Dmitry visited, carrying confusion. I thought you only wanted money. Truth stands alone, I said. He admitted Alexei once warned him to destroy me if I turned. Nothing left to lose, that is why I won. Wedding photo gone, replaced by one of Dmitry and me by the river. Agency letter thanked me for preventing regional financial damage. Story rewritten at last. Sunset painted the Neva gold. I stood on the porch in simple clothes, letter in hand. Justice arrives quietly when it comes. New account opened, Petrova Consulting. Clean money funding a center teaching women financial independence and freedom. Dmitry handles outreach, healing clear in his presence. Anonymous threat email arrived one evening. I deleted it. Enemies prove I am alive. No anger, no triumph, only peace. He was right, I never touched his money again. I built my own. Wind through my hair, woman standing free by the river's edge at last.